states are moving fast to adopt the GST Constitutional Amendment Bill. Today, Gujarat, which has a BJP-led government, ratified the bill in a special assembly session. Gujarat is the 6th state to ratify the bill within a month of the Union Parliament finally clearing the bill. The 5 other states who've already adopted the landmark tax reform are Assam, Himachal Pradesh, Bihar, Uttarakhand and Chhattisgarh. What's significant, though, is the fact that Gujarat is one of the biggest manufacturing states in the country, which means its tax collections will see a sharp drop once GST is rolled out. Saurabh, in fact, let's discuss that further. Saurabh Patel, the former finance minister of Gujarat, actually joins in live at this point. Mr. Patel, thank you very much for joining us. Great to have you here. Good evening. Prashant this side. Congratulations first up, sir.
Yes.
You know, now, of course, it's the matter of the rate itself, and everybody would be eager to know your thoughts on the matter.
See, now the rates will be decided by the GST Council. Now, in the last meeting, the RNR issue was discussed in detail among the states. So the states have two things. One, they want to keep the rates as low as possible. And second, they want to have rates in such a manner by which they can have their existing tax collection also. So this will be decided within a month or two, maybe after GST Council is formed. But I feel that a rate where the lowest compensation have to be paid by the center will be decided by the states unanimously.
In fact, Mr. Patel, you attended the last state finance ministers meeting on the GST, and the sense that we've got is the consensus largely was on the rate being set anywhere between 22 and 23%. In that sense, so would you say that that's a fair assumption to make? Because and if you could also throw us some light in terms of what is the rate that, let's say, a state like Gujarat will be comfortable with, because this is a significant move, because you're one of the first big manufacturing states to have actually ratified the GST bill.
See, if you look at all the manufacturing states are going to have a higher RNR. So Gujarat naturally has got a higher RNR. Now we are comfortable with any rates because the Honorable Finance Minister has assured us of a compensation mechanism in place. So lower the rates is easier for the states and the center to implement. Higher the rates is more difficult. At the same time, if the rates are low, the center has to pay a more compensation package to the states. So this is a very dicey situation where a tax structure has to be decided by which the center also doesn't have to pay much of a compensation and the states are assured of their revenues. Now Gujarat and all other states manufacturing, because of the higher CST revenues, we will lose on those counts. So say for example, Gujarat will lose at least 5,000 crores per annum of CST if it is counted on 2% basis. If it is counted on a 4% basis, then it is going to lose 10,000 crores. Now this amount is going to be included in the revenues which are going to be decided for the state. Now any revenue which falls below the base decided by the states, for the states, that is the compensation which the center will have to pay. So, and that is for 5-year period. So naturally there is going to be lot of discussions, lot of debates between the state and the center, and lot of figures are also going to come in, whereby which everyone is going to give their own opinions and ideas of what the taxation structure should be. So this is one of the most challenging things for the GST Council in the next month or two.
Right. You know, two-part question, Mr. Patel. One is the formula for compensation, I mean, you got the assurance that you will be fully compensated, but is the formula, by when will that be known, etc.? I mean, do you have any apprehensions about that? What are your thoughts on that? And just one more point about just the BJP states, BJP ruled states. I mean, they're expected to, of course, clear this fast. Each of these states individually. But what about the others? I mean, you know, this has, of course, been taken through the Union Parliament. But do you think states would, I mean, in most cases, in the majority of cases, this will breeze through? Your perspective, sir?
See, the one point is very clear that as far as revenues of the state are concerned, the opinion of all states are the same. What they were assured in 2006 when Honorable Chidambaram ji came out with the idea in the budget speech that the revenues will be protected. So accordingly, the states reduced their CST from 4 to 3% and 3 to 2%. Then because of lot of issues, GST did not pass through. So automatically the CST reduction was stopped by the states and the center. So it remained at 2%. Now in the existing income of all the states, there are a lot of instruments which are used. Say for example, one is VAT revenue. Number two, today there is a negative list in the state of Gujarat. So we are getting a certain revenue from the negative list. Now this list goes up, so that revenue also goes up. Third, we in CST, we deduct 1% input tax credit and do not give it. So there are so many such things. Say for example, purchase taxes or the other. Entry tax is there. Different states have different things. Okro is there. So every state is going to decide what their revenue should be considered. So in the last MPART group of meetings, it was decided that the secretary should sit together and all states should give their ideas that what should be included in deciding the compensation mechanism. Now once this mechanism is decided, then what is the loss accordingly will be formulated. So I think this is a very important thing. Most important thing is all the revenues existing of all the states will be calculated. And what is the growth
Indeed,
rate?
sir.
The growth.
Right.
The
Yes,
growth
Mr.
rate
Patel, if
calculate-
we are running out of time, and if we could, if I could just squeeze in one last question, sir, as far as this issue of compensation is concerned. So you have recently demitted the office. You would have done some calculation as to the kind of compensation the centre would have to give the state of Gujarat. Let's say if the GST rate was at 18% or if the GST rate was at 20%. Can you throw us some lights in terms of the kind of compensation that Gujarat will need because of this?
See, I'll tell you the figures given by the state government, figures given by the center, figure given by different institutions are different. So today, the people who talk about 18% tax rate, they are saying that there will be the base will be much wider and no compensation will have to be given. If you have a conservative estimated, then others say that you should have a rate of 22 to 23%, then no compensation would be given. So that is different states talk differently, different institutions talk differently, economists talk differently. And hence, till today we have not come out with an exact revenue model by which we can say that this is the rate which has to be fixed. So I think in the next month or two, a lot of discussions will take place, and I'm sure that the center and the states will come up with a fair taxation structure, whereby which the center is also not burdened to a great extent, and the states will find it easier to pass on this new act very comfortably to the consumers.
Mr. Patel, thank you very much for that perspective. I really appreciate